represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. It's nice to see everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you the questions again, make sure everybody's able to follow those instructions, then go a little bit in regards to what our schedule is today, and then we'll talk maybe about kind of where we go after today. All right, so first off, let me get to those questions. Has any member of the jury read, seen, heard, or overheard anything from any source about any aspect of this case which would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror? All right. Next question, is there any other serious matter of concern bearing on your service as a juror in this case that anybody needs to bring to my attention? Again, thank you so much for following those instructions. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to return, will be given the opportunity to do their cross-examination. And I believe after that, the Commonwealth has one last witness. Okay? And so that's the anticipated lineup that we have today. And going beyond that, I'm not going to speculate too much because I've been wrong just about every time I gave you an estimate of the symbol of the schedule. But just so you understand, it's anticipated that these would be the last two witnesses. All right, and then I'll talk to the lawyers. We'll kind of see where we go from there, and then I will today, before you leave, I'll explain exactly what the next step is going to be. Okay, and so with that, we'll return. If we have the
Good morning. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in the court being adjourned and having no pending between the Commonwealth and the shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You may be seated.
Step, please.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, Attorney Sprague.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you need a moment?
I do.
So, Doctor, could you tell us what is peritraumatic, sorry, let me start over. Can you tell us what peritraumatic disassociation is and whether it factored into your evaluation in this case?
Yes, that's the kind of thing that you experience when you're going through a very frightening or traumatic set of situation or circumstances or whatever. And it's the sort of thing that you can experience in the sense that you kind of feel that things are unreal or that it's not you. It's like you're watching yourself go through actions and so on. And it's the sort of thing that if you talk about it, it sounds like it could be psychotic, but it's actually a recognized, more likely to be a recognized aspect of going through a traumatic situation or set of circumstances that many people going through something like that would experience.
And when you say going through something like that, are you talking about when the defendant was strangling her children?
That would be one example because that was very traumatic for her.
And did the defendant show signs of peritraumatic disassociation in the records or in your conversation with her?
She did. She talked about feeling like it wasn't her, like she was watching herself, like she was going through what she called no thinking, no decision making, only responding to the voice and taking action.
And when she said that there was no decision making involved, did you see anything about in the records or in her detailing of what happened that was inconsistent with that claim, that there was no decision making?
Yeah, this is difficult but important to say. That there are just many ongoing decisions that have to be made to accomplish a killing like this in 18 to 20 minutes. For example, why the basement? who among the children goes first? What do you say to the kids to keep them from panicking? There are other examples, but
Yeah, hold on.
And so what types of decisions, without getting to what she might have said or thought, what are some types of decisions that had to be made to effectuate the strangulation of the children?
well, I tried to give some examples a minute ago, and I don't want to go too.
All right, hold on. Just answer the question, all right? Don't comment on the rulings of the court. Just answer the question, please.
This was on the third day, and she said, I don't remember.
And did you also ask her about her statement at Brigham and Women's when she woke up and said she was horrified?
I did. Now, that statement was not a statement so much as it was a written. She woke up in having regained consciousness that evening. She was intubated, so she couldn't speak. But they asked her questions, and she wrote down the answer, and they asked her, how are you feeling, or what's your mood? And what she said was, what she wrote was horrified.
And when you asked her about that on that third day of interviewing, what was her response?
She said, I don't remember writing that, and I don't remember why I would have been horrified.
And did you also ask her about the statement she made at Brigham and Women's, either verbally or on the writing it down, about how she said that one of the reasons she killed the children was because she thought they would suffer?
Where are you? Are you in my report there?
Referring to the records at Brigham and Women's where she told...
No, she can refer to where she's looking to direct his attention, if you reviewed those.
You reviewed the Brigham and Women's records, correct?
I did, yes.
And the portion where it says that she told a treatment provider that she had to kill the kids to kill herself because the kids would suffer. Do you recall that statement?
Yes, I do recall that statement.
And when you asked her about it on the third day of interviewing her, did she recall that statement?
Yes, that statement in Brigham and Women's to the attending psychiatrist was made in the context of her thinking about what happened. Well, let me see if I can find it here. Said the kids will suffer without you. And when I asked her about that, whether the voice had said that, she said, no, the voice only said, this is your last chance. You have to kill the kids so you can kill yourself.
So I'm going to move to strike this, not respond.
No, overruled. Allah.
So the two differences where at Brigham, she's saying, the voice said, you have to kill yourself so you can kill the children, and that the children would suffer without her, versus after that when she says the voice only said, you have to kill the kids so you can kill yourself. Is the fact that she's giving two different statements significant in your evaluation?
As I talked about in my testimony yesterday, when there is inconsistency, that's something that alerts me to the possibility of inaccuracy. And two statements that are mutually exclusive or inconsistent suggest to me that there is a problem. One of them, at least, is not whoever is on the other end of the phone. And this was her husband. When when he called her at 5:33, she didn't pick up, but she called back immediately at 5:34. And when I talked to him during the collateral interview, one of the things he said is that she sounded, on the short call, distracted and like she was in the middle of something, but it wasn't anything that struck him as that unusual. He said when she's home with 3 kids, she's always in the middle of something. So that was one of the reasons that it was important. And then another reason, as I mentioned a minute ago, is it helps to establish a time frame. We know when her husband left the house, which was 5:15. We know when he came home, which was around 6 o'clock. And this is not quite in the middle of it, but close. to that. And so it was unusual and valuable and important in trying to establish those kinds of things.
And when reviewing the records and talking to the defendant, did you notice any statements or behaviors that seemed to focus in on herself? Such as, for example, being future-oriented?
Well, one of the things I noticed from the records at Brigham and Women's is that several days after she came in, there were comments from staff and in the notes about how she was a little bit more future-oriented and thinking about what it would be like in the future, her life, and that sort of thing. So that's one of the considerations that was in response to kind of thinking about herself and being oriented toward herself.
And is there any significance to that state of mind or those thoughts in your evaluation of her?
Well, I don't think that she was in any way over this or thinking only about herself. It's something that I noticed when I evaluated her in April, is that she is still grieving. She's still in mourning for those kids. And she used language like, I have lost everything and I don't want to be here. So I would not think of Lindsay Clancys as someone who is really self-centered or oriented only to herself. She is grieving her children.
And you mentioned yesterday the emphasis she had on control of thought and control of her life. How did that come into play in your evaluation in terms of what was done here?
One of the considerations is why she got to the point where she decided to take her own life. And she's an individual who, for most of her life, has been disciplined and liked to control things, liked to work hard, liked to accomplish things. And one of the things that was striking about what happened with her between October and January is that she seemed to be doing her best, talking to the doctors, talking to the therapists, working on trying to get things accomplished in terms of lessening the anxiety and getting the right medications. And it wasn't working, and she couldn't help make it work. She could not control that through hard work and discipline and so on. And that had to be very frustrating, and I think got her to the point where it was very difficult for her to actually think about not being hopeless and going on with her life and so on.
Now, doctor, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty as to or wrongfulness of her conduct when she killed her children?
I did, yes. And I'm at the end of my report, I was very careful about how I phrased this. And so,
Sustained. If you could just answer the question regarding your opinion.
So, yes, you formed an opinion?
I did, yes.
And what is that opinion?
That opinion is that she retained an awareness of the illegality of killing others, including killing her children. Her moral awareness of the wrongfulness of this killing was influenced by her strong desire to die and, if she were dead, not to leave her children behind. Some of this perception was realistic. For example, my children will suffer without me because they would have suffered, I think. And some of it was distorted. For example, nobody else can care for my children. But her awareness of the illegality and moral wrongfulness of such killing is best appraised by understanding these acts as a serious suicide attempt combined with altruistic filicide, killing her children out of love, rather than as a response to command hallucinations.
And did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty as to whether Ms. Clancy was able to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law when she killed her children?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
That her capacity to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law is, again, best understood by considering the seriousness of her suicide attempt and her strong desire not to leave her children. She demonstrated such self-control throughout the day on January 24th, and her actions between 5:15 and 6 p.m. that afternoon were influenced by her depression and her hopelessness about her life and the desire to end the pain she had experienced since October. Her decisions. She retained control over whether, when, and how she carried it out, and the inclusion of her children.
And doctor, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty as to whether or not the defendant was criminally responsible when she killed her children?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
My opinion, my clinical opinion, since I'm not the decision maker here, but my clinical opinion is that she was criminally responsible on January 24th.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd move to submit the PowerPoint for identification.
I'm sorry?
I'd move to submit the PowerPoint
Oh,
for identification.
for identification. Okay, thank you. That may be done. Attorney Reddington?
Thank you. Sorry. Doctor, I'd just like to ask you about one of the things you just said to this jury that apparently stood out in your mind, and that would be the dichotomy of the difference between two statements that Lindsay made, one being, I believe, in the hospital, and you felt that there was a subsequent statement that was made by her that contradicted that, or was different from that, and that would be after 3 days of you and Mac testing her. Is that right? Can you just say, is it right or wrong?
Mr. Reddington, it's not quite right.
Okay, why don't we do it this way?
Yeah.
You just told this jury that Lindsay made a statement to you at the conclusion did you tell this jury, in addition, that Lindsay made a different statement when she was in the hospital? Yes or no?
What I said to the jury
I'm
is,
asking you, sir, did you make that statement to this jury?
what I intended to say.
No, not what you intended. Can you answer my question? Yes or no?
No.
Now, is Dr. Helbrun aware of the concept of post-intensive care syndrome?
Post-intensive care syndrome.
Yeah, PICS. It's called PICS.
No, I have not heard of post-intensive care syndrome.
Dr. Helbrun aware of when a person is coming out of major surgery and has been subject to anesthesia, that it is known that they have delusions, hallucinations, make statements that don't make sense. Are you aware of that, sir?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And is that from your personal experience, professional experience? Because you didn't know what PICS was when they asked you, right?
Yes, it's not from my personal experience. or my professional experience.
You received a notification to evaluate Lindsay Clancy on this criminal case from, and do you recall when you received that notification?
It would have been sometime before January of 2025, because that's when I started reviewing the documents that they provided.
Okay, so January of 25, January of 26, and then in the spring of 26, you go to the Tewksbury Hospital with Mac and you interview Lindsay, right?
Correct.
So how many months is it from the time that you were appointed or requested or asked to help the DA? And have in mind January of 25 that you were retained by, and again, you know, normally this isn't an issue, who cares, but how much money did you make on this case, as they want to ask my doctor? How much money did you make on this case?
That depends when I'm finished, but I mentioned earlier that I had spent 180 hours before coming to Plymouth.
How much money did you make on the case, Doctor? Simple.
Well, it's not that simple, but I'm being paid at $300 an hour.
Okay, so how much money did you make on the case?
Well, $300 an hour times 180.
What's your last billing?
I've been billing monthly, sir.
Okay, you must know what the total billing is up to this point, don't you?
I actually have not added it up.
How about you just give us your best estimate, Doctor?
Well, let's see. Probably up to this point, it's been about $54,000.
$54,000. And it will be more, right? So you received from me by certified mail video interview of Lindsay by my guy, Dr. Resnick, right?
Correct.
You received the notes from Dr. Margaret Spinelli, right?
Yes.
You received the notes from my Dr. Paul Zeisel, right?
Yes.
You received the report that was prepared and submitted by Dr. Philip Resnick, right?
Yes.
You received the report prepared and submitted by Dr. Margaret Spinelli, right?
Yes.
And you received the report prepared by Dr. Zeisel, right?
Yes.
And then I said, if you have any questions, give me a call, drop me a line, whatever, but we never talked until today, right?
That's correct.
All right. Now, you have a curriculum vitae that talks about that you are a clinical psychologist, correct, as you've told us yesterday, right?
Yes.
Have you ever treated a woman in postpartum psychosis?
When I was a staff psychologist at the forensic service at Florida State Hospital.
When was that, please?
That was back in 1982.
82?
Yes. I had a therapy group which was comprised of women who had killed their children. They were severely mentally ill, and at that time, it was important to recognize the severity. So I work with them in a group.
It's as well, right?
I think he has the same kind of affiliation I do, which is we both have jobs and do things elsewhere, but we occasionally do cases in affiliation.
As you refer to it, you also were involved with Giant Food Corporation. You do fitness for duty assessments. What is that?
What are fitness for duty assessments?
Yeah, Giant Food Corp. What's Giant Food Corporation?
Oh, that's something that I did many years ago. Basically, a company or an organization might refer someone who is having difficulty at work, having symptoms, making
Okay.
threats, that sort of thing. And they would ask for an evaluation from a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
Okay.
And I did that for a while for giant food corporations.
And you also did it for U.S. Airways, apparently, evaluations and visitor, Sam Houston State Hospital or University, right?
Yes.
You were a grant reviewer for the Office of Victims of Crime for the United States Department of Justice. That's the feds. That's the U.S. Attorney's Office, right?
Yes.
Okay. You also worked, and you did violence risk assessment consultant as a consultant to the New Jersey Department of Mental Health Services, right?
Yes.
You also consulted as a research consultant with the community education centers in New Jersey, right?
Yes.
Research Advisory Board, the Center for the Analysis of, actually the FBI. You work for the FBI?
I consulted with the FBI, yes.
FBI. You also consult with the Bureau of Prisons, right? BOP. And with your dad before, well, you were in college apparently, right? Right?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
his
so
research assistant at that time when
Yeah.
I was in college, yes.
Okay. And this is before you entered graduate school, and you used the diagnostic framework that no longer exists, didn't you, back then?
It was a long time ago.
Right. And actually, it was 3 years before the DSM was even written. DSM-1, back in the Stone Age.
It was a while ago.
That's the only article you ever wrote dealing with that issue. Is that correct, sir?
Dealing with what issue, sir?
Postpartum psychosis.
Ah. Yes.
Says, I mean, yes, thank you. So, you make arrangements with the district attorney's office to get all this discovery that I sent you, that the DA sent you, police reports that you went through.
Many times.
Well, you billed them for it, I'll bet, right?
Any time I spend on a case like this, I record and it gets billed.
Of course. So you do have records, but who cares at this point? I mean, you're here testifying based on your opinion at the request of the prosecutors, right?
I'm here based on, yes, at this point, I've completed the evaluation and don't remember things like how many times I talked to the DAs. That's part of it.
But basically, in your conversations with these two prosecutors, sir, did you talk to the state police at all, detectives?
I reviewed.
In Tewksbury, you pretty much had an idea that this woman was a beast, killed her 3 kids, didn't you?
I would not agree with you at all.
So you had an open mind when you went in there to Tewksbury to see and speak to for 3 days, Lindsay Clancy?
I did my best to have an open mind, yes.
You told us yesterday you had some difficult decisions to make, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So when did you first meet Avram?
When did I first meet him?
Yeah.
That probably would have been late 2025, early 2026.
Okay. Around the same time that you first got involved with the case?
No, it would have been considerably after I first got involved with the
Where did
case.
you meet him?
Where did I meet him?
That's what I said. Where did you meet him?
Virtually.
Oh, virtually?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a Zoom thing or
Yeah.
FaceTime or something?
Exactly.
You ever meet him in person before you went to Tewksbury?
No, I didn't.
So did you guys have a plan to meet up somewhere before you went to evaluate Lindsay?
In the lobby of the hospital.
Did you stay somewhere the night before?
I did, yes.
Yeah, where'd you stay?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Were you with Mac that night?
No.
No? Did you stay in a private house?
No.
You stay in a hotel?
Yes, I did.
Wasn't a van down by the river, for sure, right?
I don't remember the name of the hotel, but it was a hotel in Tewksbury.
All right. So you're in a hotel, you meet with Avram Mack in the parking lot, and then you go into Tewksbury Hospital to meet with this young lady, right?
Correct.
And the two of you, day number 1, you spend how many hours, the two of you, questioning her?
4.5.
And day number 2, you don't bring Mac with you, you're by yourself, and you administer the psychological testing, correct?
Correct.
And how long was that, sir?
3 hours.
And day number 3, how long did you speak to Lindsay in the hospital?
3 hours.
So what was your total period of time over a 3-day period that this young woman was dealing with you and Avram Mack?
10 and a half hours.
So for 10 and a half hours, this young lady is in a room, in a wheelchair, being questioned by you and Avram Mack while she's on medication, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And she was still answering your questions, trying to be cooperative and being affable and friendly, you put in your report, right?
Yes, that's right.
Did at any time she express to you that she was tired and wanted to take a break?
We offered her in the beginning.
My question, sir, was...
Objection, if you could answer.
No, he's not going to, he's going to
No,
answer my...
hold on. Why don't you ask the specific question, Doctor, if you listen to that question, okay?
My question, sir, was at any time did you or Avram Mack offer to her to take a break?
Yes.
Did she accept that offer?
Once she did, and once she did not.
And basically indicated that she wanted to get through this interview and get it over with, right? Going there to talk to her those 3 days, were you?
No.
She knew that you were there on behalf of the district attorney's office to testify against her in a trial and say to a jury that she knew and was able to conform to the law when she killed her 3 kids. Isn't that right?
No, that's not right.
So, your diagnosis is depressive bipolar 2. In your opinion, granted, through those 3 days that you had interactions with Lindsay, is it your opinion that she is a controlling individual, sir?
It depends what you mean by controlling.
Well, let me ask you, for example, would you agree that if a young mother prepares lists for a babysitter, for example, to chop up the carrots and dice them up small, individual?
That is something that is what she does, what she thinks, what she feels at certain times, what symptoms she has, and so on. And it was hard for her to leave.
Was that in 22?
Was date night for their 5th anniversary in
Just mention
22?
it to the jury. Was that in 2022, their 5th anniversary? Your anniversary is in December, right?
I don't know what year it was in,
Well,
Mr.
what
Reddington.
was the problem? What did he say? Third-party collateral. What did he tell you?
What he said in response to that question is that on date night for their 5th anniversary, she was anxious about leaving the kids.
Right. Did they ultimately go out that night?
They did.
You know where they went?
I don't.
Did she have fun? Did she appear to be enjoying herself? Readings about her as a mother, you were able to see that she would sing to her daughter when she put her to bed. That's in the reports. You read the reports, right?
You might have to ask me that question.
You know Rascal Flatts?
I'm sorry?
Rascal Flatts. You ever heard of them?
No.
Okay. So if I suggest to you, sir, that Lindsay would sing to her daughter every night, is that important to you in your evaluation?
Yes.
You didn't know that, though, apparently, right?
I knew that she was very good with her kids, paid a lot of attention to them, spent a lot of time with them, and really enjoyed it.
Even right up to within hours of their killing, she was making snowmen with them, right?
Yes, she was playing with the 2 older children out in the backyard.
And then bringing her life experience, which you testified yesterday that she never had any abuse in her life, was raised by loving mother and father, good student, hard worker, great mother, good friend, wonderful wife. She then randomly decides to kill her children by strangling them. It's the facts we're dealing with, yes, sir, right?
No, not right.
So one of the things you testified to yesterday is that, and you went like this and said that this is difficult, but then you were able to power through and tell the jury that Lindsay didn't like to leave her kids alone. She got anxious about that. Remember telling that to the jury?
I do.
And this is one of the things that you kind of hang your hat on, that you felt was for a mother not to want to leave her children and be anxious when they're out of her home, right?
Well, it depends. It could be difficult and so on, depending on how anxious and even disabling it was, if she just couldn't leave her kids. But on the other hand, if it just reflected that she was close to them and wanted to be with them and wasn't a problem or disabling, then it's not a problem.
Did you know, sir, that Pat's mother and father would come over to the house and babysit for the kids when Lindsay and her husband would go out to dinner or go out to a movie or go out with their friends? Did you know that, sir?
Yes.
Did you know that the children were actually in learning Sprouts school? Did you know that?
Yes.
They had to leave the house to go to school, didn't they?
Yes.
She wasn't anxious when they would go to school, was she?
It made her a little anxious to drop her kids off. She didn't like to be separated from them.
Well, that's because the kids many times, not on occasion, would cry, like little kids do when you drop them off somewhere, right?
I don't know if she was anxious only when they cried.
You know that in addition to the date nights, in addition to socializing with friends, in addition to the children leaving to go to the Little Sprouts school, you knew that there were a number of occasions that Lindsay alone or Lindsay with her husband would leave the kids and go out and do any number of things. Shopping, socializing, go to Boston, things like that. You know, did you ask third-party contacts about that?
I asked Patrick about that.
Concerned about her babies when she's not at home, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
I wasn't presenting it as something that is wrong.
I'll back off. I'm sorry. I thought you did. I thought yesterday you were telling this jury that because Lindsay didn't like to leave her kids at home, that was a factor that Dr. Helbrin considered in his opinion. But that's fine. You agree that there's nothing wrong with a woman being concerned about her children leaving them out of the house, right?
No, I don't believe I said that.
Okay.
One of the things that
No, never mind one of the things. They can ask you on.
We can finish.
All right, okay. The answer is you did not say that.
Judge, I'm getting a little confused here
Well,
between.
listen, no. Let's see if my question is not that confusing.
Okay.
Did you testify, you done saying that you did not say what Mr. Reddington said?
Yes, I'm done saying
Okay,
that.
all right, that's good. Next question.
One of the other issues is that also factored into when Tufts prescribed her the SSRI, she didn't want to take it because she was afraid of the breast milk being contaminated by this drug, right?
Yes.
And then ultimately, when she stopped breastfeeding, at that point, she was able to take the SSRI, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then Tufts increased it to 50, right?
I don't recall offhand what the.
Okay. Well, you agree that Tufts increased the SSRI, right?
I do.
You agree that before the end of September of 2022, this young woman was living her life with her husband and her kids. Summer of 22, happy, had a great time. Do you agree with that, sir?
I do.
And when she saw Tufts from September end up until the killing of these children and the state of her condition that you told the jury was confusing. Remember using that word yesterday? It was confusing with these number of diagnoses that she dealt with?
Yes, I did use that word.
And the confusing with the number of drugs that was one drug on top of another drug and stop this drug, start that drug. That was confusing, wasn't it, sir?
Yes, it was.
And it was a confusing and upsetting to her and her husband to the point where they went to these doctors and said to them, you're turning her into a zombie, right?
Yes, that's right.
But prior to seeing Tufts and the other healthcare providers, she was a happy woman, wasn't she?
She was in many respects happy, pleased with her life. So she wasn't happy in an unqualified way, but she was, yes, she was very happy with certain aspects of her life.
So as September turns into October, middle of October or thereabouts, how is she doing at that point between her depression, anxiety, drugs prescribed? How is she doing?
She was anxious about going back to work, but she hadn't started taking the
wait,
drugs
wait,
that were
wait,
prescribed.
Let him finish. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doug.
Yes. In September, she was anxious about returning to work. She had not yet started taking the medications that Dr. Tufts had prescribed, though.
How about a text that she had sent to her mother on October 20th, sir? I know you didn't, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Read that text, please. October 20th. This is a text that she sent to her mother. Read it.
Would you like me to read it out loud?
I'd like you to read it out loud.
Yes, that's correct.
And in December, and I quote you, it's not getting better. You go from worse, killing myself. And God forbid, I'm thinking about killing my kids. I've got these thoughts in my head. Would you ask me? Places. Thoughts?
Those questions
What
on
question?
a number of occasions,
Sir,
if I might.
What questions?
No, well, go ahead.
What
Finish.
questions?
Finish that question, and I'll let you have that question.
Okay.
Finish the answer.
Questions such as, are you hearing voices? If so, describe those and so on. And the typical response that she gave as part of a question like that was no.
How about when someone says, I've got dark thoughts? Does anybody, professionals, ask, what are the dark thoughts?
If somebody said, I'm having dark thoughts, then the follow-up question would be, tell me more. What are the thoughts? Tell me, just give me some descriptions of what you're having, what you're thinking, what it's like, and so on.
So if a patient goes to a doctor and says, I'm having these intrusive thoughts, I'm having dark thoughts, I'm having thoughts of, and at this same time frame in December, she's talking about harming the children, correct?
She said that those thoughts had come to her at times.
At times.
Yes,
And she mentioned that to her husband, didn't she?
that's what she said, yes.
She mentioned, did you talk to her husband about it?
Yes, I did talk to her husband
Tell
about
you
it.
that she said that to him?
Yes.
A couple of times she said it to him, right?
A couple of times she said, I'm having thoughts, and he asked her, give me more detail if you could, and she said, they're just thoughts, it's not a plan, that sort of thing.
You got this girl living in her house with her kids, saying she's having dark thoughts, saying she's thinking of harming the children, and Patrick's response, according to your testimony, is just basically just power through it, you'll be okay.
Response, as he described it, he asked more questions because one of the things that she had been dealing with for some time are thoughts about hurting herself and possibly the kids. And so what he did was try to get more information about the details. He asked questions that a mental health professional would also ask, which is,
Surprised, sir, that she had significant damage, not only to her back, her spine, and was hemorrhaging, but also to her throat.
no, I would not be surprised. She injured herself very badly when she jumped out that window.
If I suggest to you, sir, that if you listen to the 911 tape as it relates to Patrick Clancys interacting with her, that she can only make grunting noises, would you be surprised at that?
I would be surprised, yes.
And you never listened to that tape?
I did not.
Went into McLean Hospital, and that would be the locked wards of McLean Hospital. She was there for 5 days, correct?
That's correct.
And then she was released at her request to attend Cora's birthday, right?
Yes.
When she was released, would you agree, sir, that, well, while she was there, she continued to describe her mood as numb, denying things like that she's not having hallucinations and suicidal thoughts or homicidal thinking at the time, and that would be prior to her discharge. Is that right?
There was a lot in that question, so if you could break it down for me, I'd appreciate
No,
it.
I'm just going to ask, sir, if, would you agree with me that she indicated what her mood was prior to discharge, right? Well, as a doctor, you're not going to let somebody walk out the door of a locked ward in a hospital without making sure that, in your opinion, that it's okay for the person to be released to their home, family, things of that nature, right?
I'm looking at the part of my
Sir,
report.
can you understand my question? I don't care about your report. I'm asking you about when someone is in a hospital.
That's correct.
And this was on January 5?
January 5, yes.
And she was described in the records as being cooperative and pleasant, right?
Cooperative, pleasant, no psychosis, no suicidal or homicidal ideation, mood described as good, in quotes, and not anxious.
Good for you. Anything else you want to add?
Objection.
That's sustained. Next question.
So after discharge, would you agree, sir, that she had what she described as a small shred of hope after discharge because she thought that she was off the Seroquel and felt that was what was causing her a lot of her problems, right?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. But the intrusive suicidal ideation and thoughts returned. Isn't that right?
Within a week, yes.
And they were pretty bad, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
And again, she's describing, according to your testimony yesterday, symptomology that you said of combined 2 and 3. That would
Yes,
right? And a zombie, yet again, right?
yes.
And she didn't see any improvement. Is that right, sir?
No, that's not right.
Okay, well, quote, in fact, she thought it was getting a lot worse. Moving on to number 5 on your chart, one of the things she also said is that she was focusing on making the anxiety, helping the anxiety getting better through medication, right?
Yes,
It was also counseling. She went to counseling through Latasha Dukes. Ms. Gelada was still treating her, correct?
the counseling was limited, but yes, that is correct. She was involved in some counseling.
So it was limited. Is that a bad thing? Did this woman not want to
Objection.
go to anybody that would help her, sir? Are you trying to tell the jury that she was avoiding
Objection.
help?
Sustained. Next question.
So it was limited? How is it limited?
It was short-term and supportive as opposed to something where in the field you might pick a cognitive behavioral therapist, which is empirically supported for things like anxiety and depression and patience and things like that.
Who makes that decision? Does a person like this make that decision, sir? Is it up to the patient to make a decision of cognitive, whatever it is you just said?
Yes, it's certainly one of the things that an individual can do is looking for a referral from somebody who would be a cognitive behavior therapist or something like that. So yes,
Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I'm
All set?
finished. I'm finished.
She was focusing on trying to make this anxiety and make her feelings about her feelings go away. She wanted to be herself again, right?
Yes, that's right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? For a person to want to do that?
Not at all.
Okay. You indicated that she was concerned about resolving her problems, and the district attorney then asked you about.
Go ahead.
Did I just read right what you said in your testimony yesterday?
I'm not understanding your question, Mr.
Okay.
Reddington.
She also had psychotropic medication.
Yes.
What is psychotropic medication with adverse reaction? What does that mean?
It's pronounced psychotropic. And
Sorry?
Oh, okay. It's psychotropic medication is medication that is prescribed to help treat symptoms of mental or emotional disorder. And it helps to improve, hopefully, the symptoms that you experience. And there was another part to your question, I think.
Yeah, it's called adverse.
Yes. These medications are available because for what they're prescribed for, they help most people. They have to go through clinical trials and all sorts of things. But for a few people, there are side effects and what we call adverse reactions, and they don't help. In fact, they might make things worse. And it appeared to me from reviewing the records that for Ms. Clancy, she's one of those few people where the reaction to have the medication prescribed for and improve the symptoms. She just had sort of the opposite happen.
Look at her. You look at her, sir. Did she have adverse reactions in your mind after you evaluated her, looked at the medical records, and looked at all of the scripts that she had? Did you believe that she had adverse reactions?
To the medication that she had been prescribed since I believe she was having adverse reactions from the time she began taking the medication in October up to and including January.
Do you think that the treatment that she got from Tufts and Gelada was good?
Objection.
Overruled.
I don't know. That's not something that I evaluated as part of my evaluation of Ms. Clancy.
You testified yesterday that she was returning to exercising in December. And then the district attorney followed up and indicated, well, she went to the Kingsbury Club in December. Remember that question?
I don't actually.
No? Do you know what the Kingsbury Club is? It sounds pretty fancy.
I don't actually.
Do you know that it's just an exercise place with a pool? You can bring your kids in a little restaurant?
Once again, I don't know what the Kingsbury Club is.
Well, there's no problem with a woman trying to exercise to try to avoid drugs and try to get herself out of any depressed state that she might be in after having a baby, right? No problem with that.
On the contrary, it's a good idea if she can do it, and it's something that she used exercise all her life to help manage her mood and do better.
One of the questions the DA asked you yesterday is about the manic state or hypomanic state, or exercise, or things of that nature. And she had the baby.
Yeah. Yes, it's my understanding that she did that too, yes.
During that period of time while she's selling things. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you agree that at the same time she was doing the beach blanket bingo or whatever it is on television, where she's selling people things like videos and lost money doing it?
Would I agree what?
Would you agree that she was selling videos online and it turned out that it was a scam and she lost her money?
I would agree that she was involved in something like that. I didn't know that she lost her money.
Okay, so we have the exercise, we have the scam, we have the hypo cleaning, all of that. Would you agree that that is just a little bit indicative of what you said to this jury that you were struggling over, trying to find mania, manic, hypomania? Agree with that?
I would agree that those could be symptoms of a manic episode, which I was having a hard time identifying as she was clearly experiencing something like that. But I did end up with a diagnosis of bipolar 2, and that reflected my thinking that some of those things that Mr. Reddington has just described could be symptoms of a manic disorder, although less serious than a bipolar 1 diagnosis.
Okay. District Attorney asked you about anxiety, that you felt that she was suffering. Your answer was, well, if it works.
Objection, will you approach sidebar?
Sure. Yeah, Council.